I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber. And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this story.
I get soft like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow. Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we are going to be discussing Helena Petrovna Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society that she formed with two other guys.
It's with an A.
Judge. Yeah, one's last name is Judge and one is like Alcott, maybe?
Alcott.
Okay.
It's H. Alcott.
H. Alcott. Okay, like I kept this up so I could like reference it. Henry Steele.
Henry.
Alcott.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So
William Quan Judge.
I want to talk about her story that she said, if I'm remembering correctly, she was introduced to these people that told her all about this. Do I believe her?
I would like. Can we?
Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay.
So Helena P. Blavatsky was born in Russia on the 12th of August in 1831, or per the old calendar that Russia uses, July 31st. But either of those calendars, that's my grandma's birthday, but not 1831. So that's fun. But she's born in Russia to like aristocratic people, but self-taught aristocratic woman, which is really cool. So strong women down the line as she, and like she's raised in a way where it's a very open raising. Like she's free to explore education and knowledge. She's not boxed in. They move a lot because her father and her grandfather seem to be in like civil service, which is pretty like that's common in Russia in the time. And they moved all over. Like they went to Poland. Like they moved all over the region that used to be, I guess, the USSR essentially. And then also like they did move outside of that region twice, if I'm remembering correctly, but I don't really know where they went. And so she had all these experiences. And then we get into like some interesting things where she claims that before what you want to talk about, like before that happens, she has a couple of instances of some kind of supernatural phenomena that she is able to manifest. And she later realizes that she sees like imaginary friends of these masters that later will come into her life. And then later, because we're not doing any, like if you really want to know her biography, you can read all sorts of, we're not doing that. We're just kind of discussing her life and how it leads into her founding the Theosophical Society. Right. Okay. So I just wanted to fast forward through like the things that have happened, and like there's not any specific details that I picked out from her childhood that I felt we really, really need to talk about. However, I find it very interesting to her later life, and that we will just get into as we go. So she does in her young life, like 20-ish, right? She is traveling the world. She's not married at all.
She's been to like India. India is one of those. First of all, my fingers smell like garlic. I'm like so bad. Like, do yours?
I just smell coffee on my breath. If I'm being honest.
We're Fire Cider. Check out our last video if you haven't already. Yeah.
That's what you get from these witches.
Yeah, I'm just over here like thinking, and then I'm like, oh God.
So I'm expecting not that to come out of your mouth. So I don't know if I laughed really, really loud, but that is wrong.
Oh, speaking of garlic and smelling garlicky, it is chili season. I had your chili once before I had Luna.
Yeah,
but not this season.
Yeah, I actually haven't made it since because of it, but it's a good time for chili.
It is.
Yeah, I guess next weekend we'll have to do chili. it gets too warm or something.
Maybe I'll bring some homemade bread.
Ooh,
That would be good.
That'd
Chili
be
and
good.
homemade
Yeah,
bread.
fuck
Yes,
yeah.
I will do that. That way we can have our own little thing.
Check out last episode where we talk about a lot of the things that go into chili.
Yes, exactly.
That's
but
why
anyway,
you're in the mood for chili.
I just remember the last time that we made garlic on the way home. Amber's driving me home. The whole car smelled like garlic. The last time you made chili, and I mean, I was like, oh my God. And I even got home and my husband was like, you smell like onions.
Radical honesty, yeah. There's more. Well, I think one time I picked you up and you started going, did you make something with onions? And I was like, yeah.
You say anything. You had said halfway through the car ride, I think I smell like onions. You do.
Okay.
You do.
Okay. I remember vividly, like, yeah, I must. It's in my skin. I've dealt with so many onions.
But so as these witches are super truthful, is Helena. I would like to share my opinion. Okay, well first let's go. She claims that she met these masters, right? And these masters are a secret society.
And Mariah, I think.
They're like a secret society of people that have supernatural powers, like people that can move, like telekinesis, right?
Not entirely.
Okay.
They are the educated, enlightened masters that, because I've done so much research into esoteric learning, this rings a bell of truth for me.
I believe it, but do I believe that she met them? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, because of where she's from. Okay, so let's talk about the things, and I was just trying to find their names because they get mentioned so much. The masters that she met were, I have to find it. Oh, come on, there's like 2 pictures of them, and okay, whatever. I can't. It's Katumi, and we're going to say Mariah because I can't find it, so I can't. I'm pretty sure it's Morya. But anyway, so she's traveled to and from India. She's been to France. She's been to Italy. And in all of these places, she's met spiritual type of connections, like with other spiritualist individuals. And on her journeys, she, I think in France, she hooks up with the first of the masters, which I think is Mariah, and he takes her to Khartoumi, according to
Khartoumi, yeah.
But either way, she meets one, she meets the other. They are learning with her and as well teaching her, from what I understood.
Yes.
And at 2 points in her life, she claims to have gone to Tibet. One time she was turned away, and another time she was entered, given admittance. Now, Europeans were not allowed into Tibet. However, she claims that she was with local people. And she is from an area of Russia that is very close to the eastern border. Like my great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, was born on the Mongolian border, which is China and
it's
Russia.
like right there.
So anyway, like if she could pass for Asian, and she spoke so many different languages because she has been traveling the world, she has been working with different spiritual people. She spoke languages, including the language they speak in Tibet. So she could easily have passed to not be excluded. I'm just like, while we're discussing
I'm very conflicted because I do hold the belief that things or beings like the masters, as she calls them, I do believe that. Do I believe there's a society like that? Absolutely, I truly do. Do I believe she met them and went in Tibet?
So why
some
not
people
her?
claim.
Why not her?
See, I don't know. I don't know. See, that's why I'm like, I'm on the
Well,
fence.
because I
But I
went
know-
into it with what you're saying,
I know
and the
people-
more I read, the more convinced I am.
Really?
Mhm.
See, I know people that have made up stupid stories like that. You know what I mean? Which makes me want to take every story like that with a grain of salt, whether it's
Well,
like someone I know personally or someone I don't know. But
And I get that because I
Uh-huh.
went in as a skeptic, like, but the more I read in our research, which I'm so glad we did this episode,
Mhm.
because I've always, since I learned of her existence,
Mhm.
because she's a woman from Russia who basically created a not exactly religious society, and we'll get into that as we talk about Theosophy, after we talk about Helena herself. But I was always interested in that, and there are a lot of skeptics around her, and I've read a lot of things about the skeptics and what they have to say, and then I've even read some of the things that her critics have to say where they can't deny that it's possible.
Mhm. There's no proof that it didn't happen, but is there proof that it did happen?
Well,
You
look
know?
at the learnings that she brought. There are people so Tibet, for example, that's one of the questions. Could she really have gone to Tibet, or is that all a lie? So all of it's a lie, right? Except she knows of a teaching that is only taught in like Tibetan monastery.
Mhm.
Like
I
you
had
would
read
have
that,
to
yeah.
be, you'd have to be in what she said she was in to have the knowledge that she had. And she had that knowledge. She wasn't faking it. It's truly somebody who's looking at, could this have happened? And they said, in these writings that she did, there is this knowledge from those teachings, and that's the only place she could have gotten it. And she did speak the language, so she could have, you know what I mean? I came into it a skeptic because the things that you're saying, I understand, because that's how I came into this research.
Mhm.
But the more I read, the more I was like, actually, what other than what? She's a woman. What other than, now there's some people who say that she did not have any of the psychic abilities, like she couldn't astral project. She could not, there was no clairaudience or clairvoyance on her part, except.
But see, those are things that can't be proven one way or another.
Also, that those people just didn't believe it was possible. That's why
Right.
they said she was lying. But we know that's possible.
Exactly.
We know 100%. So again, I say, like, why not her? Why didn't these people come to her? She was able to be a person because of her travels, because of her
Mhm.
many languages, that was able to move this knowledge from this place to the West. And that is what she is credited
Well,
with
and
doing.
I think another reason why, and I'm not saying I don't believe it, I'm going to say openly, I truly don't know. As for the belief system that there is a thing like the masters and there's people that I absolutely believe in that.
Oh, yeah,
As for her to
for sure.
meet them, I don't know. And I say that because there are many other religious leaders, religious people, whatever you want to call them. We'll be talking about throughout the coming months in 2025, like Gerald Gardner, for example,
Aleister
Crowley, who
Margaret Thatcher.
they all seem to have this claim that a underground society had accepted them and they learned these things from this underground society or the secret society, and they're sent to share it with the world. And as I said that out loud, oh my God, it's very culty.
Well,
It's
but here's the thing, and there's a difference as we talk about theosophy.
Mhm.
It's not a religion.
Mhm.
Theosophy encourages you to bring your own thinking into it.
Mhm.
The only tenet that theosophy has all over the place is to treat your fellow man like a human being, no matter what their race, what their sex, what their gender, what their identity is. Like, no matter what, you are expected to treat them with respect and as a fellow human being. But that's like literally the only thing that this teaching brings to play, for one.
Well,
But two, I ask you, what of her teachings does she bring to the mat that is false or are the things that she has brought from one place that she says is a secret society to the masses. Like, where's the lie? I'm just curious. Like,
I don't
what
think
is
there's
it?
a lie. It's just whether or not she actually met, like. So the thing is, as I'm saying it, and as I was saying what I just said, it almost makes me wonder: have all of these people met the same group of people? You know?
Check out our episode on the conspiracy theory around what was that society of men in the woods, the owl. I can't remember. We did a whole goddamn episode on it.
Oh yeah, see them too. Are they all connected? Is it all connected?
And
So I think I have
esoteric
become.
societies do exist. They've existed for a long time to make sure certain pieces of knowledge are available to humankind.
Mhm.
But with Theosophy and the information that Helena Blavatsky put down and out there in her very unfortunately named book, Isis Unveiled.
So do you think? Well, when I read that, I just thought it was about the goddess.
It is,
Okay.
but current era, that like,
Well,
this is an Archer Watcher. Their company was called Isis,
do you?
and then they changed the name after the terrorist group. Terrorist group? Are you
I
going to say that word? I don't know.
Do you think that it's possible that all of these people have met the same group of people, or do you think that there are multiple layers of esoteric groups? Like there are multiple.
Well, I'm sure there's multiple different
Like-
esoteric groups or cults.
Uh-huh.
I mean, because I'm sure there are some that are just groups about knowledge, and there are some that are basically cults.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some that are falling under the guise of false because they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
I truly don't believe that Helena Blavatsky is lying about everything. I don't think she's telling the truth about everything. I do believe she met the masters based on everything I read.
Mm-hmm.
I came into it a skeptic, and based on what I read, I am no longer as skeptical. However, I do believe, just like a lot of other people, she did embellish things. I also believe, because I am like this, there's a lot of things that say, like, well, she told this one person she was in this place at this time, and she told this other person she was in this place at this time. I misspeak all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized later, like, oh, no, that's not right, because XYZ, ABC, and DEF. So actually, I was here this time. And so then furthermore, corrects herself. Or I am more guilty of this. I say the wrong thing. I remember the right thing. Sometimes I remember to say the wrong thing. Sometimes I remember to say the right thing. Sometimes I remember wrong, and so I'm convinced that the wrong answer is what I'm like the right answer. Does that make sense? Our memories, unfortunately, are malleable, guys. Every time you revisit a memory, you inherently change it, and you change your memory of the memory. It's a really crazy thing. Look into the brain. But like, some of her skeptics have that's their reasoning for becoming a skeptic of her. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm like, okay, well, let's look into like all the reasons people are skeptical of her.
Maybe it's okay, so you point that out, and part of me wonders if I just get, I believe what she says is a thing. Mm-hmm. My concern is, or my skepticalism, whatever you want to call it, is, did it happen the way she's saying it? Because like you said, there's a lot of like, there are situations where she could have misspoke, you know what I mean? Did it quite happen that way? Is she being 100% truthful? I don't think so. But
whenever anyone's writing their own narrative, how exactly, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But here's, for me, the important parts are, I truly believe that she met and worked with people of an esoteric society that were the masters, if that's what she chooses to call them. Right?
Okay.
Because here's another thing you have to remember. If you find knowledge from a secret society, whether they allow you to bring it to the masses or not, you cannot identify them.
Yeah.
They are a secret society, right? So
Mhm.
calling them the masters, right? To you, that seems mystical. To other people, it seems scammy. But you go with the masters because it fits in with like that works. You know what I mean? So like, I highly doubt they called themselves the masters. I highly doubt they presented themselves to her in a way that she presented them to the rest of the world.
Right.
But a lot of that has to do with the fact that she was working with a secret society of
Right.
individuals. Whether they truly tasked her with or she chose to, that information was brought via her as a conduit to the masses.
Mhm.
And of course, under a lot of circumstances, you're not going to be honest about most of that because either you can't, because they are letting you share the information,
Right.
but they're a secret society. The only way
Well,
you
and I
stay a
think-
secret society is if nobody knows who you
See,
are.
and I think that right there, what you just said, could go hand in hand with our Gerald Gardner episode, because a lot of people say, well, he met the secret society, but he did this and this and this, but this doesn't sound accurate, and this couldn't be accurate. But you could use the argument, like you just said, well, if it's a secret society, you can't reveal everything.
Well, truthfully,
You
you
know?
can't.
But I'm very excited to talk about, I think it's the next episode, I'm not sure, the Margaret one.
The next episode will be Aleister Crowley because
Oh,
first
he's right
they-
before, right? I always think of him.
but timeline wise.
But I'm excited for the
Helena
Margaret.
Blavatsky was first.
Yes.
So Margaret Thatcher is going to be the fourth.
Yes.
Per our discussion.
Okay. Margaret Thatcher, her belief system was that there was a secret society of witches and blah blah blah.
A very patriarchal one.
But I'm over here like some secret society of witches, blah blah blah. Secret society of masters that hold this knowledge and this power.
It's how you present it to.
Goes hand in hand.
It's how you present it to society, but
Right.
also, as far as what is the information that's being brought, because from these masters,
Right.
information is being brought about esoteric learning. Because I've read it, I know when I was reading what she presented to people as their teaching, that's what the esoteric school teach. That's the information given. Now, I'm excited to learn about the others because I don't know as much about what they claim to have been taught. This, though, I'm very familiar with on my own platform outside of this research. So I was able to identify, like, oh, absolutely. Like, in esoteric learning, you are taught that the world is or the universe is formed in a certain way. That's where all our fucking myths come from. But not just the universe is formed in a certain way, so was everything about the world. Including that in the beginning, there was basically the way matter moved and the way we evolved. That's exactly what she teaches in Theosophy. Because, obviously we're looking into not just Helena Blavatsky, but the Theosophy itself, which is the doctrine that she brings to the masses, except she doesn't present it as a doctrine like these others. She presents it as we all need to look at this information, learn from it, make it our own. Very much what we do as modern day pagans when we talk about looking at what previous people practiced. I mean, that's why we're doing this right now and why we're going to talk about Aleister Crowley and Gerald
Gardner.
Is it Gardner? Okay, because I said it wrong the other day.
It's either Gardner or Gardner, but I think it's Gardner.
Yeah, Gardnerian Wicca. Okay, like because I said the wrong name the other day, and now I'm like, shit.
And then, I'm so
I'm
excited. I'm so thankful that you mentioned these as episodes because it never occurred to me until just this exact moment. Most of these people are claiming to have some association with a secret society that they need to come forward, or that they are sharing this information with a secret society. And I'm just over here now, I'm like, is it all the same society?
I don't know. I'm excited to learn because I don't know what the teachings are from that.
Yes.
But I know because I looked into Theosophy. Like, I don't know if you read much about Theosophy.
A little bit, yeah.
It's really, it's very refreshing.
It was a nice. I would say I agreed with almost all of it.
Yes,
honestly.
yes,
Really,
and that's
really.
not the reason that I believe Helena Blavatsky, right?
Mhm.
The fact that it coincides with what I believe so much, it just gives me a place.
It really
it's like,
does.
yeah,
That's why I was so conflicted, because I'm like, I really do believe all of this shit. Do I believe that she did this? No, I really don't know. I'm leaning towards yes, because everything that she says, for the most part, I agreed with, including the masters in the secret society and everything else. I really,
like
really did.
it does come off hokey. The fact that she has critics helps you look at her skeptically,
Right.
not you.
Well,
but
and all
any
of these
person,
people are
right?
going to have
Every,
critics.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I mean, you're coming up with a new religion. Oh my God. Okay, we just watched American Primeval last night while we were putting Christmas away. Have you seen it? It's a new Netflix show.
No.
Okay, so like the only spoiler I'll give is that like the Mormons are gonna fucking hate this show. Because
Oh, God.
they're the enemies. But
Uh,
like, you know, why did that oh, but like they're like they hate us because of our religion. And I mean any new religion is a threat, right? Especially
absolutely,
to established religion, right? Because like think about it, parishioners bring money to the table. But anyway, that's not the point of this episode. But it just made me that overlap, and that show is fucking bomb ass, and Jimmy Chance is in it. Sorry, because we just rewatched Raising Hope, so seeing Jimmy, and we were like, oh my God, he got work again. Show, but Theosophy is just, it's a very refreshing doctrine, but it's not like a doctrine really. Like the only thing that is set in stone across the board with Theosophy is treat your fellow human fucking well. It doesn't matter what they look like, where they come from, like that's their thing, right? And everything else is up to interpretation, but they come from like a cosmic kind of, there is one ultimate higher power, so to speak, and everything stems from that. And that, yeah, it does match with what I feel. It really does.
It does. Again,
it doesn't
thank
make
you
room
for
deities, but it definitely, yeah. Like, I mean, it's just very interesting, and I'm curious what you guys think, but I truly, the more research I've done, because I originally thought she was a fraud. She's been accused of being a fraud, but from
they all have
they
everybody
all have.
that we're going to be talking
But
about.
everybody that but everything that I've read about her just actually reinforces to me that she's not a fraud at all. Actually, she started a society of psychics, so to speak. It wasn't exactly a society of psychics, but people who claim to be mediums, people who claim to be mediums, things like that. And when she thought that they were all phony, she stepped back. She said, "No, I'm not organizing this," because she didn't want to promote fraudulent individuals.
She didn't want to be associated. And,
and I mean, like that's not what made me go, "Oh, she's for real," but that definitely reinforces it for me, because a fraudulent person is not going to care about working with other fraudulent people.
Yes.
What they're going to care about is not being found out.
Yes, I get you. I definitely get you.
I don't know. I just felt like that was like a valid, like definite, like fact to throw out there, because I know we're wrapping up. So I just I think that everybody should really look into Theosophy. It's a very interesting ideology. And not theology, though. Like,
yes, I kept getting those a little bit confused, and my husband had to keep reminding me.
Yeah, like theology is the study of religion. Theosophy is a mixture of not theology, but also theology, philosophy, and science. Honestly, and honestly, like I'm all the time saying, I said it on our live earlier, science and magic are the same thing, just in different languages. You know what I mean? So it's like nothing new for me to have an outlook like that. And it's kind of like really nice that this ideology has that, but also it's not a religion, and they don't tell you what to believe other than you can't think your fellow man is lesser than. Like that's the only thing they tell you to believe. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that I know you want to wrap up, so that is the last thing I'm going to say.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, because I know we got to be finishing out. So, I mean, it's been a hot minute since we got together, guys,
and we have talked, and it's just and I
wonderful.
am very, very excited to do.
I'm
My
excited
hat,
for
and I was
the
like, oh God,
episodes,
my hair disappeared.
I'm just more excited about having learned more because, like I said, I went into this more skeptical, and I'm coming out of it with a lot of reasons why am I skeptical? Like, why not Helena? Like, what makes it that she couldn't possibly have been telling the truth about these things? Because when you take into account all the criticisms against why she might be being honest about it, those things, they can be explained away, and some of them are even defended by her critics of how, like the Tibetan learning and language thing. Like, she couldn't have learned those things unless she really went there, like she said. And that, for me, I know I said the other thing was the last thing, but I'll stop there, except for the closing things, because we got to do the closing things. So if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are almost at our goal for this year, practically. So help us out.
Reach those goals. We're on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot,
and we're on the X at Classiest Witches, because we are the classiest witches, So a big shout out to Victoria,
Melissa,
Death by DVD,
and Pam.
We appreciate you being our Patreons on patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot. And if you would like a spiffy little shout out, you can go to the aforementioned link and sign up. So thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell.
Look how opposite we look in these. Like, do you see? I was looking at us and I was like, oh my God, we look so opposite, don't we?
I was thinking that earlier.
Were you?
I can't remember why. I think in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.